¿Qué le pasó? ¿Qué están aquí? ¿Qué pasó?
26 años. 26 años llevamos esperando este momento. Ustedes vieron los que dicen llamar la paz. No, asesinos ustedes. Te nombro 4.
Papi, quiero dejar algo claro. Aquí no hay ni un venezolano. Aquí ni un venezolano, porque realmente yo no sé si a alguien aquí le falta un plato de comida, si alguien aquí ha tenido que ir a un hospital y que le falta insumos, pero esos venezolanos es mentira porque ni son venezolanos. El venezolano de verdad, Venezuela ya expresó su voluntad. Venezuela, 70% de Venezuela quiere que Venezuela sea libre. Venezuela tiene que ser libre de Maduro. No hace sentido defender un criminal de guerra.
Aquí está un venezolano perseguido político. ¡Abajo Maduro! No me toques, no me toques, no me toca, no me toques, no me toques, no me toques. ¡Abajo Maduro! ¡Abajo Maduro! Perseguido político de nuevo. Nos vemos la cara. No lo secuestraron, es un criminal. Es un criminal. Maduro es un criminal. Escúchalo. Maduro es un criminal. Viva Venezuela sin Maduro. A llorar para el valle. Qué bueno vivir. Es bueno vivir en un país con libertades. Es bueno vivir en un país con libertades. Váyanse a Venezuela. Váyanse a Venezuela. ¿Por qué no se van a Venezuela?
Venezuela, you are from my country. What part of Venezuela you are? 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 You are not from my country. You are not from my country. You are not from my country. You are not from my country.
I heard you're from Venezuela.
Yes, I'm come from Venezuela.
And you don't agree with any of these people here, right?
No, I'm not agree. I'm not agree with Trump because Trump helped to my country obtain the libertad.
Can I ask you, there's a bunch of Americans here who have never
lived in a communist and socialist country with a socialist government.
If you are not from Venezuela, you better shut the fuck up. I've seen a lot of videos of gringos trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. You don't even know the difference between Venezuela and Mexico. You can't even point Venezuela in a fucking map. You don't know what is to live in starvation. You never saw a family member dying because you didn't have the medication, while the members of the Chavismo are walking with Rolex in their hands. Do you want to know how many people died trying to come to America, going through a jungle? Do you want to know how many women were raped there? We are 8 million of Venezuelans who have left Venezuela. You don't know what is to live like that. You are too freaking busy eating your Starbucks with almond milk, you motherfucker. I have a question for you guys. Where were you when they were killing us? Where were you when they were killing students who didn't have any weapons? You were too freaking busy drinking your Starbucks with oat milk. So you better shut the fuck up and take Venezuela out of your filthy mouth.
For all my Americans shitting on Trump for bombing Venezuela, let me tell you, I am Trump's #1 hater. I am also Venezuelan. And let me tell you, for all of you that are commenting on social media, oh my God, no war, we didn't sign for this. Oh my God, poor people, they must be so terrified. Let me tell you, every single Venezuelan that is not working for the government, the dictatorship that has been in place for more than 25 years, we are stoked. We are happy. Even the people that are currently still in Venezuela, everyone's happy about this. So can you please just educate yourself and stop spreading this bullshit narrative that, oh my God, poor people, like, they must be so scared. No, we're not scared. We've been waiting for this shit for 25 years. We've lost family members. We've escaped the country. We've had to leave everything behind to start over. Yes, some of us know Trump is a piece of shit, but sometimes you battle the devil with a bigger devil. So let him do what he needs to do, and then we can go back to shitting on him, okay?
A lot of these liberals, leftist Marxists in the United States of America, they talk about socialism and they talk about communism. And a lot of these Democrats sitting down in the U.S. office, me as a Mexican, I can tell you, all these white privileged liberals, they have never lived in a third world class country. They have never lived what we have lived. They have never experienced narco-terrorism, dismembered bodies, decapitated heads, extortion, kidnappings, missing women and missing people, extraction of organs. They have never experienced what is a dictator in a regime transforming out of socialism. And in your political language, it is all the fault of the sanctions and the embargo. All of that, that's what you use. But you don't come over here to the main place and try to cross that border. I don't see you doing that. I'm walking right now on the border of Simón Bolívar, where millions of migrants from Venezuela on an exile and on an exodus, they left their country because of necessity, because of the regime, and because of the dictator, Nicolás Maduro, Diosdado Cabello, and Padrino López. Because of those three, they control the fractions of Cartel de los Soles, Tren de Aragua, and all the regimes. They have basically destroyed the peace of the Venezuelan people. All of you that you pandered to the narco regime of Nicolás Maduro, you have never walked the Darien Gap and suffered the consequences as the Venezuelan people have. But you advocate for a dictator, and you advocate for a guy that is basically punishing and torturing their own people. Right here, I'm standing in the middle of this bridge where it's the limitations between Venezuela and Colombia. I'm going to go all the way to the limitation. So you will have the gall challenging you, the white progressive mercenary liberal that is advocating for Nicolás Maduro, Padrino López, and the dictator Diosdado Cabello. I'm challenging you to cross this line with your white privilege liberal agenda. I'm challenging you to come over here and have the balls to cross over here and see what happens to you with this dictator.
White liberals in America are complaining about Nicolás Maduro, while Venezolanos in Venezuela are out celebrating that their dictator is gone. If this doesn't tell you how evil and disturbed white liberals in America are, I don't know what will. They're willing to allow an entire country to be exploited as long as it fits their political agenda and goes against Trump. Think about that. Nicolás Maduro publicly rigged elections, killed his own people, had actual re-education camps, made anybody who opposed him disappear. And this is who they're defending now. Believe me, I was worried when Trump said that the United States would oversee the transition of power in Venezuela. But here's a reality that no one wants to admit. Maduro didn't just destroy Venezuela. He destroyed the entire system of checks and balances. He replaced the courts, institutions, everything with loyalists. This isn't one bad leader. This is a government gutted from within. Because of this, if we don't step in, the people who committed the corruption will be the exact same ones choosing who investigates it. The power is not going to return to the people. It'll just rotate to another loyalist from the same corrupt machine. But when these people say stay out, they're not saying stay out because it benefits Venezuelans or they care about what happens to them, because clearly Maduro was the worst thing that could have happened to him. Maduro was getting rich while starving his own people. A credible transition isn't about America controlling Venezuela. It's about preventing a total collapse. It's about less violence, fewer mass migrations, and giving Venezolanos a chance to stay in the country they love instead of being forced to flee from it. Scrutinize everything. Go ahead. Absolutely. I encourage it. But pretending that walking away fixes anything, that's how failed states stay failed states.
Dear American media, please stop using these three phrases in your Venezuela coverage because you're not being neutral. You're legitimizing a dictatorship. Listen, I've worked in American media my whole life. I've even published in the New York Times. And yes, they've been one of the outlets getting this wrong. So here's what to stop saying. 1. President Maduro. Maduro claims he won the election in July 2024 with no proof. The opposition, led by Edmundo González and María Corina Machado, won by a landslide and have the receipts. So say dictator, autocrat, authoritarian leader, de facto ruler. Stop granting him the title president. 2. Regime change. Regime change makes this sound like Iraq or Afghanistan to the American public. Use democratic restoration, constitutional order, a democratic transition, a return to what voters chose. 3. Delcy Rodriguez is a moderate. Speaking French or studying abroad doesn't make someone a moderate. Delcy Rodriguez is Maduro's VP. She handles the oil and is responsible, along with his power brokers, for one of the biggest refugee crises in our hemisphere and for torturing and imprisoning thousands of innocent people. If she replaces Maduro, it's not an ouster, it's a reshuffling. If this coverage affects you, share this. Send it to your American friends and tag journalists and editors and outlets, because if the U.S. public doesn't get the words right, they'll never understand what we're setting out to do. Si eres venezolano o latinoamericano, comparte este video con tus amigos estadounidenses, con publicaciones, periódicos, editores, porque tenemos que empezar a usar la terminología adecuada para lo que está pasando en Venezuela.
Let me explain to you what is happening in Venezuela like you're 5 years old. Imagine this country, Venezuela. It used to be a place where people go to school, could buy food, and feel safe. Then one day, the boss of the country, called Nicolas Maduro, decided that he wanted all power to himself. He made the rules only good for himself and his friends. If people said, this is not fair, we are hungry, we want better life, he wouldn't listen. If they protested, he would kill them. Many people disappeared, many were killed or hurt just for disagreeing with him. Because of this, many families don't have food. Parents cannot buy medicine for their sick kids. People wait in a really long lines just to get bread. And millions had to leave Venezuela to go to other countries just to survive. Country suffered the biggest inflation in the history of humanity, meaning your monthly salary, what you work the entire month for, was enough to buy 2 items at a grocery store. Then today, another awful man who wants all power to himself decides to take him down. But at least in this country, we can be talking shit about him and be okay and not be killed for it. People of Venezuela are happy because after 3 decades of living in absolute hell, there is finally hope.
I'm Venezuelan, and let me tell you something. This is the happiest day of my life.
And now liberal Americans who don't know any Venezuelan, who have no idea what the Venezuela went through, are writing on Facebook and Instagram and Threads all of these messages saying, we stand with Venezuelan leader, this is heavily illegal, this is awful. Like, I'm not to go now into the ways of how legal this has been. What I want to say is that it needed to be done, and I'm so happy that it happened. I'm so happy for people of Venezuela. For 30 long years, no one was coming to their rescue. So if we waited to do it illegal ways, this would probably never happen. The people of Venezuela would continue suffering for decades more to come, and it's not going to change overnight. There's some rough road ahead, but today there is hope. Talk to Venezuelan in your life today. All I'm asking. Libre Venezuela.
Oh, I can't believe it. Maduro's finally out. My family and I have been waiting for this moment for so long. Wait, are you not ashamed to support a president that violates international law, to kidnap a president? International laws? Let me explain this again to you. My grandmother died looking for food. We have kids eating from trash cans in Venezuela. 1/3 of our population had to flee, not because they wanted to, but because that was the only thing they could do to survive. You want to talk about international law? Well, it doesn't change the fact that Congress did not approve this and that it is a violation of international law. Oh, it does matter. When you have a dictator starving and killing its own people, trafficking drugs into the United States and killing Americans here, yeah, I think Trump did us a favor. Well, still, he cannot go in and kidnap an elected president. It sets a very dangerous precedent. Well, you know nothing about Venezuela very clearly because first and foremost, Maduro is not our elected president. Second, you don't know what dangerous really is. You know what's dangerous? Starving is dangerous. Silence is dangerous. Fear is dangerous. 1/3 of your population fleeing the country because they can't survive in there is dangerous. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just falling for right-wing propaganda. Right, I'm Venezuelan and you are going to explain Venezuela to me? Is that how that works? My family starved. My country collapsed. And here you are with all your privilege, defending our oppressor while lecturing the victims of the system. What a shame.
Hi there. Are you an American or other first worlder with democracy privilege who's all of a sudden very, very concerned about the United States taking the oil of Venezuela? Well, let me tell you something. Fear not, because Iran and Cuba have been receiving free Venezuelan oil for decades in exchange of protecting the dictator that has been exiling, killing us, and disappearing us for 26 years. So please, you should be more concerned about the dictator that is killing us, exiling us, and disappearing us than the United States taking our oil. We are not concerned about that. So why are you concerned about that? Be concerned about the imperial powers of Iran and Russia who are already in Venezuela. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paula, and I am Venezuelan, born and raised. I've lived in the United States for almost 10 years to the date, and I am an American citizen also, by the way. The main reason why I'm coming here today, I'm literally nobody, and if this reaches one person, my job here, that one person that didn't know what was happening in Venezuela, and now they do, my work here is done. I am outraged about the comments I've been seeing today. I made the mistake myself of going on social media and reading all the news outlets reporting on the news of the Venezuelan strikes, well, military strikes to remove Maduro, thank you. And everybody, a ton of Americans, and then from whatever you're from, but you've never been to Venezuela, you have no idea about the political situation in Venezuela, the history of Venezuela, and trying to be like our saviors, like I can't. Let me set some things straight. First of all, the regime has been going on since 1998 when Chavez was elected president. From there on, their country is the mess, in good words, that it is today. We have suffered a lot. The Senate was dissolved. The Constitution was changed. They bought the military, all the armed forces. Many people have been killed, kidnapped. You can go do the Google search yourself, or just ask, because clearly Google's not working for you people. 3 things I want to get across today. 1, Venezuelans are sad. No, we're not. This is literally the happiest day of our life. This is our second independence. We are still in shock, complete shock about what finally happened. We have been wanting this. We have been praying for this. We have been literally anybody that we have been able to go to and ask, and nobody listened to us. So we are happy. Enjoy. And even if you're a Venezuelan in Venezuela or a Venezuelan outside of Venezuela, in any country that you are, if you left 10, 15 years ago, 5 days ago, or a week ago, we are all happy. So don't worry about us. We're happy. The United States only attacking Venezuela because of the oil. People, we do not control our oil. We haven't seen our oil. Russia, Iran, Cuba, China, whatever other countries, Central America and South America, we've been giving away our oil to all these countries. Like, we're not seeing that. Anyways, so, and we used to have trades and whatever other things with the United States before Chavez about our oil, and our country was working fine. So the way we don't care, don't worry about us. If the United States wants to take our oil, we will be happy to be giving away the oil to the United States if that means that our country is going to be safe, and that us citizens, residents of whatever of Venezuela are going to be good, are going to be able to make money, are going to be able to retire, which none of those things are happening right now. And then number 3, if you're worried about what United States did to Venezuela and that what's going to happen now, nothing, literally, and I mean this, nothing can be worse than the hell we've lived up until now. So stop, and I mean this, stop trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. Stop. If you want to know, reach out to someone from Venezuela, okay? Either that are living there or that left. So again, I am very upset. I am outraged. I spent a dumb amount of time today on social media reading all these comments, and that was my own mistake. And that's why I felt compelled to make this video, leave it open. I am open to answer any and all questions if you're genuinely wanting to know what's going on. Any comments about trying to explain to me what's happening or how I must feel today? Like, you're out. I'm not kidding. Thank you very much.
Okay, as a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My family, my parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years. And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yes, millions. The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers. Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity. Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launch pad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime tried to bury. Her courage has lit a fire in the hearts of millions of Venezuelans desperate to believe that change is still possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics. Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly, to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And precisely because of that, she understood that this gesture might be the thing that keeps his attention focused on Venezuela at a time when U.S. presence and pressure in the Caribbean is rising. She didn't dedicate that award to flatter him. She did it to protect and preserve the one kind of power that could help shift the course of history. Because for her, this isn't about pride. It's not about optics. It's about freedom. And let's be very clear. Maria Corina is not asking for the U.S. to invade Venezuela. She's not campaigning for war. Venezuela is already invaded. It is held hostage by a narco state, overrun by foreign agents and enemies of democracy, Russians, Iranians, Chinese, all operating freely, weaponizing our land and resources to expand their influence across Latin America. What Maria Corina is calling for, what millions of Venezuelans are praying for, is the support of the only military on earth capable of countering that threat and helping to free our people. This is not imperialism. This is liberation. She's not playing partisan games. She's playing for Venezuela's life. Because this isn't theoretical, this isn't academic. This is life or death. So yes, it is time to honor her bravery, but more importantly, it is time for the world, especially the free world, to recognize what's at stake. The fight for Venezuela is a fight for freedom, for democracy, and for the stability of an entire continent. If we truly care about liberty, human dignity, and peace in the Americas, then Venezuela's fight must matter to all of us. Que viva Venezuela, que viva María Corina Machado.